It is time to talk about one of the biggest 2D music franchises at the moment. They have kept the momentum going for 10 years, which is impressive. If you look at the other 2D music projects that I talked about, some of them became popular, others were really popular and faded away, others didn't even become popular, but this one was always popular, to the point that they still sell a lot of CDs. They are really impressive. We, of course, are going to talk about the Ensemble Stars franchise in this episode of Seiyuu Lounge. Welcome to Seiyuu Lounge. I'm your host Vanessa, and today, of course, we are going to talk about the Ensemble Stars franchise. This is a massive one because most of you will know about the Ensemble Stars franchise. Everywhere you go, regardless if you like the franchise or not, they are really massively popular. They release music almost all the time. Their games, they have two games right now, two versions of the same game right now. They also had an original game that was discontinued back a couple of years ago, which was the one that I actually played. Not the two versions right now, but the original one I actually played. They have plenty of music for you to find, and they have 14 groups waiting for you. 14 groups. So while I said in the last episode that SideM actually has 16 groups, the Ensemble Stars franchise also has a lot of groups. They have 14. They have almost 50 voice actors in the cast, I will say. It is close to that, which is once again crazy. This is a franchise with a lot of people, a lot of characters, a lot of groups, and there are some bands in here. There is some variety when it comes to the performances and the styles and the music genres that each group actually tackles. For me, of course, I'm a massive fan of Undead. Undead has that mix of rock with jazz music, and I love them a whole lot because of that. I no longer follow this franchise as closely as I did before because there are too many groups to follow. The music drops so frequently that I cannot even keep up with that, and I ended up really straying away from that because I no longer connected with the story itself. Still, this is an amazing franchise because even when I was a massive fan of this franchise, I noticed that they were going to be massive. The quality of the music that they were releasing, they are working closely with Art which is the company in which Satoru Kuwabara works. It has some of the best composers for 2D music industry working at that company. They go from really technical stuff when it comes to jazz and rock to really interesting pieces when it comes to the pop music. So this is a franchise that, let's say, it has a lot of collaboration with Art the music producing company, and this is a massive plus for them because the quality of their music was amazing right from the start. And I'm not going to say just about Undead. I'm going to say about every single group in this franchise, especially when I was following this franchise and there were fewer groups and there were no shuffle units whatsoever. So it was a different time when I followed this franchise. Since then, there are a couple of groups that I don't even know how they sound because I've never heard them before. But yeah, this franchise has 14 groups. I'm going to mention the groups in passing. I'm not going to dive into any detail unless it is a group that I actually love a whole lot. First of all, I'm going to talk about Trickster. The Trickster was the group that actually made me a fan of this franchise, but I'm not a fan of their music. I really came across them because I love Yoshimasa Hosoya, and when I found this project, the project was debuting in 2015, and I was so into Yoshimasa's voice that I really wanted to hear every single song he was performing in whichever project he was a part of. Unfortunately, he had to step out of the franchise in 2017, and it was the start of basically my excitement fading away from this franchise. Really. As soon as he had to leave because of his struggles with his voice, I was not that into this franchise anymore. I still stuck around because I really fell in love with Undead, so that's another thing. So you have Trickster. Trickster has vocals right now by Tomoaki Maino, Tetsuya Kakihara, Shotaro Morikubo, and Yuki Kaji. So you have massive stars, really old school stars, let's say, because usually you don't find this Seiyuu anymore in 2D music projects, unless it is something really different from usual. Then we have Fine. Fine has Hikaru Midorikawa, my all-time favorite voice actor here. It has also Takuya Guchi, Ayumu Murase, Kotaro Ashimoto. This is a really interesting group. While, for example, Trickster is a really pop rock type of outfit, Fine is really all about being, let's say, regal type of vibe when it comes to their music. They have a pop sound, but they are mostly, let's say, regal in vibe. Then we have Ryuseitai. They are really a Seitai-centered unit, really heroes and everything else. They have colors assigned to themselves and everything else. Here you have Yoshiki Nakajima, Takumi Watanabe, Anjunita, Yuichi Hose, and Kotaro Nishiyama. So we have plenty of people from 81 Produce here with Anjunita, Kotaro Nishiyama, and Yoshiki Nakajima. So basically, they were pumping Seiyuu to this franchise a lot. They have really that excitement about their music, let's say, made for a hero-themed series. Alkaloid, I know that this is a group that joined the franchise recently, let's say, in the last couple of 4 or 5 years, let's say. I was no longer a fan of the franchise when they joined, so I don't know how they sound. I do know that Gakuto Kajiwara is here, Kohei Masaki as well, Masatomo Nakazawa, and Chiharu Shigematsu. So this is quite the interesting lineup. Never heard their music before, so I cannot tell you anything about them because I don't know. Then we have Eden, or Eden. I really like their vibe. I really like their sound. They are really jazzy. They have subgroups, which is Adam and Eve, and I really like them a whole lot as well. On the vocal end, you have the sexiest voice among voice actors, Junichi Suabe. You also have Ryuto Saka, Yumuchi, and Natsuki Hanae, so you can already tell that this lineup is already god tier, for me at least. They have really awesome vocals and they have a really jazzy sound that I love a whole lot. So alongside Undead, Eden is one of the groups that I love. Then we have Valkyrie, theatrical, grandiose, really dramatic. They are everything that I just said and more. And they have Hiroki Takahashi on vocals as well as Jun Osuka. Hiroki Takahashi is quite dramatic as a performer and he really does an amazing set of performances, or delivers a really interesting set of performances for this group. They are really unique when it comes to their sound. You won't find many 2D music projects that have a group that is this theatrical. Then we have Twink. Twink has twins in there and both are voiced by Soma Saito. This is an EDM pop sound. They have a bubblegum pop style here, and Soma Saito is actually doing 2 different voice tones. It is quite the interesting lineup and dynamic for himself because he has to sing twice and in different tones. But actually, he is really performing really well here. It's not my type of music. It is too bubbly for me personally, but it is one of my all-time favorite voice actors here. So Soma Saito is delivering a really unique set of performances, and he showcases his versatility by doing a little bit of everything, not only doing the double voices because he's doing 2 completely different characters, although they are brothers, of course. And he also is adding his falsetto, his high notes, and doing everything else in between. Then we have Crazy B. Crazy B is another group that I don't know how they sound. They joined the franchise soon after I actually stopped following. They have a really, let's say, interesting lineup. As I said in the previous episode, I love Jun Kasama's voice. He is here. We also have Yohei Asakami, really good deep voice. Then we have Tasuku Kaito, also a really good voice. And then we have Tomohiro Yamaguchi, who is a seiyuu that I've already found in the Enlight Tribe franchise. So we have really good voices in Crazy B. I don't know how they sound, but I will assume they have a rock sound because of this lineup. Then we have Undead. Undead is my all-time favorite group when it comes to the Ensemble Stars franchise. They have a really rock, jazzy sound, and leading the way is Toshiki Masuda. Then we have Kei Hosogai. Kei Hosogai is really an amazing stage actor and musical actor as well. Then we have Yuki Ono, one of the most versatile and underrated singers among male seiyuu, as well as Wataru Hatano, amazing singer, really serves as a glue to all the groups he's a part of. He makes everyone around him sound really good. Then we have Rabbids. Rabbids is a bit of a bubbly, jauntier, youthful sound, so if you like that thing, this is the group for you. They have Shunya Hiruma, Yuki Yonai, Daiki Kobayashi, and Tomoya Kosaka. Also, we have Akatsuki. Akatsuki is the traditional Japanese group. This is a group that started with 3 members. Right now they have 4. There is controversy around that. I don't even want to talk about that, and I don't want to bring that conversation to the comments, so please, let's not talk about that, because I don't even understand what is at the basis of these, and I don't even want to dive into the discussion itself, because fans are tearing each other apart because of this group. But originally, Akatsuki had a traditional Japanese sound. They still do. They were a trio, but right now they are a quartet. So initially they featured vocals by Yuichiro Mehara, Shinichiro Kamyu, and Keisuke Kaminaga. Their sound was kind of delicate, traditional Japanese, really poetic, the music. And right now they introduced a new character voiced by Chiaki Kobayashi, one of the biggest talents right now when it comes to singing, as it is doing an amazing job, for example, with the Versus Ambivalence franchise with Kramv. And then we have Knights, of course, they have that fancy, mysterious, jaunty, jazzy sound. I like them a lot. They have Ryo Tsuchida on vocals, as well as Shintaro Asanuma, Masami Ito, Daiki Yamashita, and Ryoki Tamura. So they have a really, really cool lineup, and they have an even cooler sound. Then we have Switch. Switch has a sort of a pop style that I'm not really that fond of. It has Kenji Nojima, Kaito Ishikawa, and Kazutomi Yamamoto on vocals as well. And lastly, we have Mem, which is a solo artist voiced by Kosuke Toriumi. So, these are the main groups. I'm not going to dive into the subgroups and the shuffle units and everything else, because there's a lot. At the same time, this franchise has, of course, a lot of quality when it comes to the music. You already know that they have a wide variety of music genres approached here. You have really a lot of talent when it comes to the voice actors themselves. And I think that a big reason why the franchise is still around and is still going so strongly is because of how it has delivered the music and how it has made people engaged and really kept things going in a really interesting way. While they have introduced a couple of new groups and they have done a couple of shuffle units and everything else, they still keep on delivering things that make people quite excited. So I feel that these allied to the fact that people like the designs of the characters, they also enjoy the music, they enjoy the storyline in some capacity, has made this project become really steadily popular. Also, they had a game, initially the one that I played on smartphone. It was discontinued soon after, and then they released 2 versions of the same game, one focused on the rhythm game part and the other one focused more on the story and farming things to grow the cards of each character, let's say. So that's a bit like that. I don't feel that the games really do justice to the franchise. I would believe that this franchise actually deserved either something in the style of Idolish 7, having fully voiced story with the part dedicated to the rhythm game really well done, not just one button at the middle or 2 buttons, one on each side to play, but actually something a bit more challenging, a bit more fun. I think that they are missing that a lot. Because they have a lot of really good music, they could capitalize in there and make people really addicted to the game by making it more engaging, I feel. Also, there was a manga adaptation, in case you don't know, and they had also an anime adaptation, which was kind of interesting. It debuted in 2017. It's not the most amazing thing, but it actually complements pretty well, let's say, what is going on in the games and the music. I will say something, that the music in this franchise has nothing to do with the story. It is not tied up with the story whatsoever. So I would say the selling point for this franchise may be the story, but the music is not tied to the story itself. So if you are coming to these expecting to find little nods to something in the story, in the music, maybe you are not going to find that, but you are going to find really quality music and a really engaging story, in case this is the thing for you when it comes to school-themed stories and to the groups and everything else. So I feel this may be your thing, if this is actually something that would actually pique your interest when it comes to 2D music. This is quite the massive franchise. They have stuck around for a long time, 10 years. They have never slowed down, which is impressive. They have a lot of quality on the vocal end. The music is quite interesting at times. There are some groups that are really consistently really good, and there are other groups that usually when they drop music, they get #1 on Oricon or close to that. And I'm talking about Knights and Undead, who end up quite frequently up there within the top 10 on Oricon's charts whenever they release a CD, and they usually sell a lot of copies, which is impressive. Once again, not many groups or many 2D music projects can say that they can have this much longevity and consistency when it comes to sales as the Ensemble Stars franchise can say. And this is mostly due to the quality of the music as well as the storytelling that people are really into. Of course, the fans are doing a lot of the job when it comes to purchasing the CDs, which in other franchises you don't see the fans as engaged, purchasing the music and being that active, which ends up hurting the franchises in themselves. But in this case, the franchise, the Ensemble Stars franchise, really is carried over by the fans when it comes to the sales numbers, because you don't have usually 2D music franchises selling this consistently unless you are releasing an anniversary CD, or you are announcing that the franchise is going away and people are going to do a less hurrah and help by trying to make the CD number one on the charts, and they actually go and purchase it, because usually franchises struggle a lot to sell digital media. They usually have streaming platforms bringing most of the money and the attention to their music, not necessarily the physical versions. But in this case, the Ensemble Stars franchise is one of the very few franchises that actually sells a lot of physical copies of their music, which is really impressive, let me tell you. It's really impressive. So what they've achieved with getting those CDs up to number one, actually selling a lot of copies, having a lot of quality on the vocal end, having a story that is engaging for fans of the franchise, or even newcomers that may enjoy the school setting when it comes to idols. This is something that the Ensemble Stars really did really well, and the big reason why they have this much longevity. So this is something that needs to be commended. Of course, this was all from me when it comes to this franchise. I'm going now to the outro. So we are getting closer to the end of this episode, and this was the last feature in these 2D music projects celebrating their 10th anniversary feature that I created. I'm going to drop later on the videos for each franchise, covering a bit more of them and their path up until now. This was a really laid-back episode in which I was really not following any script whatsoever. I was only checking notes because I don't know the names of every single seiyuu in every single group, because that would be impossible. But yeah, this is a really interesting franchise once again. I'm not following it closely anymore, but I still have fond memories of that. I still have groups that I love a whole lot in that franchise, and I know that they haven't changed that much. They still bring quality day in, day out. So whenever I see them ranking high on Oricon, I still get proud to see that, to see male seiyuu and 2D groups and even the Ensemble Stars franchise still flying that high and getting those numbers and getting that attention that they deserve. I'm not really an elitist when it comes to 2D music. Whenever I see a 2D music project that has male seiyuu and they are ranking really high, I get really excited regardless of the project, if I like it or not. So I'm not really that picky, so I end up celebrating all the wins, because every time that male seiyuu artists and 2D groups or 2D franchises are there, up there at the top, they are actually ahead of K-pop idols, traditional J-pop artists, they are in front of enka singers, they are in front of really popular people. They are actually standing out, and I love to see that. And this franchise ends up doing this from time to time whenever they release music, and it is a good reminder that 2D music can be good, 2D music can have a lot of quality and has a lot of quality regardless of the 2D music project. There are some projects that have more quality than the others, but that's a different discussion. But there is a lot of quality in 2D music, and this project, by getting itself up there at number one or within the top 10, it brings attention to 2D music as a whole. Every single group that actually manages that actually brings good attention to 2D music, and I love to find that out there. Of course, this is not necessarily a talk about Ensemble Stars in specific, but it is good to see in general when 2D music franchises actually achieve that and bring good attention to the genre, to this small universe that we have here, that we enjoy in our corner, that we feel it's only for otaku people or actually fans of 2D music, but actually they can reach many more people, and they end up reaching many more people from time to time. The Ensemble Stars franchise actually ends up pulling this off quite frequently, and it is really good to see that happening, and it is really awesome that this franchise keeps on going when it comes to the quality, 10 years in since the start. This is amazing. This is a feat in itself. So yeah, I want to know from your end, which is your favorite group? Which is your favorite song from that group? How did you came across this franchise? And if you could recommend a couple of songs, let's say starter songs for people trying to get into the Ensemble Stars franchise, which songs would it be or would they be and why? Leave those in the comments, leave those suggestions because I want more people to find the franchise, to get into the franchise and even find new songs for me to check because I may no longer follow them closely, but I still check their music from time to time if I feel curious about something. So yeah, let me know in the comments on YouTube, and remember, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of Seiyuu Lounge. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the Hand That Feeds HQ's weekly male Seiyuu and music-related content, hit the subscribe button. And if you are listening to this episode on a podcast listening platform, please consider following the podcast and leaving a review. Leaving a review is really simple and helps other people find this podcast and fall in love with male Seiyuu artists and 2D groups. I'll return next week with another episode of Seiyuu Lounge. Thank you for listening and see you guys around.